AM 560. The Answer.
I think you're crazy.
Klaus Eberheim. That's a fun name to say. Let's say it together. Klaus Eberheim. Who is Klaus Eberheim, Squirrel? He was suicidal. He was suicidal right after he was going to testify against the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation to what happened to the money for Haiti. It's amazing. The minute they get chatty, they want to confess their sin. They get very suicidal. They get very suicidal right after they were going to spill the beans on the Duchess of Chaffington and the rapist, Bill Clinton. Don't say that's bombastic. He paid Paula Jones $870,000 back when that was real money in the 90s so that she wouldn't move forward with the allegations, with the proof beyond the shadow of a doubt. He raped her, which, by the way, if you remember, Paula, she had that kind of a big schnoz, kind of a Jimmy Durante thing going on, but a victim nonetheless, and she was attacked by media. She wasn't paraded around like the girls who worked on Epstein Island, or as it's known, Hooters of the Virgin Islands.
Respect to the former president, he did not show up today. One reason I think most Americans want President Clinton to answer some questions is because he visited the White House. Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times while Bill Clinton was president. I've been in Congress 9 years. I think I've been to the White House 9 times in 9 years.
No, that's all right. They were talking about housing plans. Tony in Downers Grove.
Hey, Sean, 3 things. One, can we stop the sham about Pritzker running for governor? He's running for the president. I'd be calling him out on it every single day. That and the lies that he tells every day, and I'd have the receipts.
Well,
now, I also want to congratulate ahead of time the U.S. Congress for doing something that no other Republican Congress could do since 1931. That's taking the House in the general election and losing it before the midterms. Congratulations. All they need is one more scallywag to say they quit. Put their arms up and quit, and the Democrats will come out.
Yeah.
And, Sean, one last thing, as always, gravy or sauce in West Melrose? Which one is it?
Let me tell you something. There is no such thing as West Melrose. You want to talk about East Stone Park, okay, but there is no West Melrose. And, of course,
West
it's gravy.
Melrose,
Gravy.
Yes.
That's how you know someone's from New York, the sauce. You punch them right in the forehead immediately. Sauce. Get the hell out of here. Roberto, Bloomingdale.
Sean, I have a little gripe here, not against you. That song you just played and going in there driving me crazy is how I feel about this for primary right now that we have for the Republican side. My gripe here today is how do you expect a guy like Don Tracy running for U.S. Senate for 4% of the vote and Darren Bailey, who I voted the last election but shot himself in the foot thanks to not listening to Dan Proft, how do you expect these people to actually win? Yeah, I agree with the last caller that we need to get candidates in there to win, but here I got an idea how we can do that. But I mean, I can't vote here, right? So people ask me, and then they get mad when I tell them what I think. But the reason I think what I think is because I looked at it for many years, got involved as I could at the time, and watched and thought the turning point for the worse was when Jeannie Ives challenged Bruce Rauner, should have won, came within a breath of winning, and then I started to, at my cigar store, listen to people after she had lost who didn't know or were unaware. Or we had one guy, and Dan Proft lost his fracking mind. It was hysterical, and he was a double dipper. He's dead now, Dean. He was he was one of those guys who wanted you to think he was a nice guy, and if his mother was standing on a $20 bill, he'd hit her with a shovel. I hate those guys. But anyway, he's dead, and he was in the place, and he was a double dipper. He had retired from one of the state jobs, and then through clout, he got another job at the railroad, and his wife was a big money girl, and he was talking about politics, and I'm thinking to myself, you work in the state. You are neck deep with it. You're as close as could be. And you don't know the difference between these people? You don't know what's going on? And that's when I was like, you know what? I told Proft, I said, you can't save people from themselves. And really, that's the point where I think we're at. And if you're asking me why good people can't run, well, that's the structure as it exists. The structure as it exists, you have to make a decision, right? When you look at the Republicans writ large and you look at the legacy of what the Illinois Republican is. And I don't mean you have to take just the Tea Party scumbags who double stabbed everybody in the back. Just take a look at it. And you have to decide, can a good person operate within a bad system? You know, I don't know the answer. I will tell you, Tracy seems like a nice man. He's very nice. I think there are nice guys that maybe are in it, but they had to go along with some unsavory things. Like, for instance, you know, people get mad at me. Why are you so mad about the video games? I don't mind gambling, but do you know the difference between gambling of somebody who can pay the debt and somebody who can't is a life of disaster. Do you know what's funny? And you gave me an opportunity, Robert. Thank you for this, by the way. Thank you. What's funny is when we talk about gambling and people get mad at me. Well, you know, you should be free to do it, and I get the libertarian. Do you know when you invest, there's a difference between accredited investors and investors? Anybody can invest. You can open up a Charles Schwab account or go on any site and invest. But what makes it that you can become an accredited investor? And that is that you have the willingness, the knowledge to know what you're risking. So that means you have the market knowledge and the understanding, the gravity of what happens when you risk versus what you don't risk. And once you're an accredited investor, then you can risk. You can go into different vehicles. It's really fascinating when you do that. Do you know what never has that understanding of finance? Gambling. And that's why I have a terrible experience. Where did they put racetracks for years? They put them in areas that were okay, but also not okay. And what happened to the people who went to them? That's what happens with the poker, and that's what happens with the drugs, and that's what happens. And the funny thing is, when you look at this in a grand scheme of things, how many casinos are there where you could go in a video game in Hinsdale or Glencoe or Barrington? The answer is none. But how many are in my old neighborhood where that guy pretends there's a West Melrose versus an East Stone Park? And the answer is, it wasn't that bad, those neighborhoods. They were hardworking guys. It wasn't that bad. Now they're ghettos. And it's because you tax a people. They call it gambling, but it's a tax. It's a tax of understanding. It's a tax of understanding risk and reward and what the ramifications are. And then you look in those areas and you look at the simultaneous advancement of welfare and the rest of it. So now you've got a society that's far different than it was 20 years ago when we grew up, or 30 years ago, or 50 years ago. And that is, you have more people dependent on the government. Do you think they're going to care about the nuanced differences between Pritzker and Bailey? They're not going to care. And if they do care, they're going to go with the guy who promises and lies better. And that's Pritzker, beyond the shadow of a doubt. Darren Bailey's an affable, probably a wonderful guy. I'm not knocking him. Or what I am saying is, you have to not, to me, election cycle isn't just the candidates before you. It's the people who enable them and the people who support them. And when more bad than good is there, you're fighting reality. John, East Chicago, Indiana.
Hey, Sean, long time no talk.
I missed you.
How you going? How you doing?
Good, wonderful.
You were making a comment about Bill Clinton paying Paula Jones $870,000.
Yes.
I remember that story very well, and I was listening to the radio. I don't know if it was Rush Limbaugh or who it was at that time, but they said on the show that day, whoever it was said that it was Bill Clinton's homeowner's insurance that paid that entire judgment off. And they said that his insurance company even proclaimed publicly that they weren't going to raise President Clinton's insurance rate.
Do you remember that was big news? But do you remember that was a big scandal, but big news? But what was the real outcome of that? What was the real outcome? It was late in his presidency. He stroked the check. He made the money. The lawyer, if you remember, the lawyer made $150,000 too, which back then, that was big money, right? So it was $1 million payoff for Paula Jones to go away. But remember Juanita Broderick? Remember the scandal of Monica Lewinsky that got lost in the whole thing? She was a kid. He's a 60-year-old frickin' president. He's a kid. I mean, the detachment of who we're talking. These are the same people who say, no, Jeffrey Epstein's island. Well, the girls who they're calling victims, were they older or younger than Monica Lewinsky? I'm curious. And the answer is they were the same age. So they're victims, but Monica Lewinsky isn't. Monica Lewinsky is a side broad, a girlfriend, a gumad. What do you want to call her? Is she a victim? Well, if she's not a victim, then neither are the Epstein girls. What do you think of that? You see, this is the problem, John. We allow the arguments to be dictated by liars and cheats. You can't keep track of a good con man, liar, Democrat. They're all over the board. They got you. They got you cornered.
Yeah, sure. And I want to make one more point.
All right.
I want to get this point out.
All right.
How is Pritzker going to run for president if they got 5 hours of tape on him with talking to Blagojevich? Does anybody believe that the Republican candidate's campaign won't use?
John, did you hear when I just talked to that brilliant professor, philosopher, author? Did you hear?
I just got in the truck.
Oh, go back and listen to the podcast tomorrow. You know what it is, John? Losers and scoundrels love to be lied to. We call them Democrats in this country. 312-642-5600.
What if everything you've been told about government, healthcare, poverty, energy, and even science is a carefully constructed lie? In Sean Thompson's new book, What If It's All a Lie? Sean Thompson dismantles the myths at the core of modern America. This is the book the ruling class doesn't want you to read. And once you do, you won't see the world the same way again. Order your copy today at SeanThompsonShow.com.